Okay, welcome to Parsha Reya. And we do a little prayer honoring the merging of the heavens and the earth. Shem Yikukudu Shabrihu Ushinate. Bi'ila Artimulaya. Shem Yuke Bavavke. Bi'adu Shem Kuzrael Kolam. Amen. Now, it has Am Israel standing before these two mountains. Literally, last November, we were there with my daughter and her husband and my grandchildren between Mount Ebal, Mountain of Cursing, and Mount Gerizim, Mountain of Blessing. We were physically there in what they call the disputed territories. That's very powerful. What is this about? The symbolism is very, very heavy. It's what we face today. What is that? We have choices. Yet we have choices. We have Mount Ebal, Mountain of Cursing, and Mount Gerizim. Now, Moshe talks about it, and I think it's important to understand that if you follow the guidelines of the Torah, the 10 speakings, this is very good. Mount Gerizim, Mountain of Blessing, makes it very clear. If you follow the way of God as outlined in the Torah, immense blessings come your way. Immense abundance on many, many levels, immense fertility. You follow Mount Ebal, just the opposite. And that's pretty much the key. So what's the choice? The choice is to follow Mount Gerizim, the Mountain of Blessings. That's the choice. Now, the truth is a lot of people today are not choosing that. We are choosing the Mountain of Cursing. I'm going to say we are. Some are choosing the Mountain of Cursings. The key is we do have free will. God gives us the movie theater, and then there's certain movies. The movie theater is Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal. The movie is whether we choose Mount Gerizim or Mount Ebal, Mountain of Cursing or Mount Gerizim, Mountain of Blessing. That's the beauty. Now, how do we know how to choose these things? This is where Rhea, which is the name of my granddaughter, okay, comes in. She's very wise. She's 14, she's very wise. I love it, how wise she is. But Rhea is the ability to see. Rhea means to see. So what is it we're seeing? We're seeing with the eyes of the Messiah. That's what we're talking about. We're seeing with the eyes of the Messiah. It takes a certain amount of spiritual practice to be able to see with the eyes of the Messiah, but even getting the idea, okay? We're not seeing with the eyes of the dark side. Now, I understand a lot of the world is seeing with the eyes of the dark side and is making choices around that. There's a very important teaching that's connected to that. And that teaching is be aware of what you give birth to. Just think about that just for a second. What is it we're giving birth to? Okay? And the wise one is the one who sees that which is born. Think about that. Because in every moment we are making choices. This is a really big deal. It's totally appropriate to our world today. Every moment we're making choices. What are we giving birth to? It's a really critical question. So the wise one is the one who sees what is born. Just think about that, and it all starts to make sense. So Ray is to see with the eyes of Messiah. And what are we seeing? That which is given born and the ramifications of that which we're giving birth to. Wow. What a profound teaching. So on one level, Moses is saying, oh yeah, well, you can choose here. We got 2 mountains. Mount Gerizim, follow the Torah. Follow the great way of the Torah. And as I've made it, Torah is the guide to enlightenment. It can take you to enlightenment. Or we can follow Mount Ebal, the dark side, and get what powers, illusionary powers we get from that. But it doesn't take you to enlightenment. It takes you just to the other direction. That's what we have to see. That's what the word Raya means. To see. And I'm going to clarify it. To see with the eyes of Messiah, but also to see with wisdom what's really going on and the result of our actions. The wise one sees what our actions give birth to. Wow. Okay. Now, there's another level of interpretation. Okay, we just did a more spiritual level. There's another level of spiritual thing is, the word is, I stand before you. The word I. The word I means 2 ways, Anoki and Ani. Ani means into the nothing. So the key is called ego. Anoki is ego. Now, can the ego work for us? Absolutely. Ego is not bad per se. If we follow it to Mount Gerizim, it takes us to liberation. If we follow it to Mount Ebal and connect with the darkness forces in our lives, it takes us just where that takes us. All of us have been exposed to darkness. And to let go of that sometimes is very difficult. Because we have to go into the darkness to undo it. Not so easy. Not so easy. And it's a little scary as well. But that's what we have to do to get free. So this is where the I comes in. What are we choosing? Okay? Are we choosing the I amness, I am this, I am a woman, I'm a man, and all the things? Or are we choosing the I-ness, which is the pure clarity of the self, and that which can take us to liberation? Those are huge choices we need to make. Are we going to identify with Mount Ebal? And everyone has a Mount Ebal in their life? Everyone has a dark side? Okay. Don't worry about it. What are you going to choose now? Because at any moment you can choose and rectify it. You can choose Mount Gerizim, or you can stay stuck in Mount Ebal. Oh, it's too much for me to handle. All that darkness, wow, I don't want to deal with it. But it keeps us there. So the whole world is surrounded in darkness. All of us have been involved in dark things. That's just the way it is. The beauty of the Torah is it acknowledges that. It says, fine, that happened. But you can choose to stop in a moment. This is a profound and really, really critical teaching. You can choose to let go of the darkness in an instant if you so choose. We don't need to be stuck on Mount Ebal. Now, when we were there, we just climbed Mount Gerizim. We didn't go to Mount Ebal for obvious kind of reasons. Okay, so we had this ability, the Anoki, the I-ness that can guide us. Now, the ego stands between us and God. I stand before you today. That's Moses speaking. But who's standing between God and you? So, is that bad or is that good? It's both, depending on how you choose it. So the ego, Anoki, Ani, can block us from it, standing between us and God. Or the ego can be used to bridge us into God awareness. That's the beauty. But it can't bridge us there if we're going to stay attached to Monty Ball. We can talk about oneness. We can talk about all the great things we talk about in the New Age. Ain't going to get us there. We have to commit to the Torah way. And I mean that because it's a total game plan for liberation. It's a total game plan for breaking from Monty Ball, which is like a chain around our feet, and moving to Mount Gerizim. And when we climb Mount Gerizim, it's a beautiful view. You see the big picture. We see Rhea with the eyes of the Messiah. So we do have those choices, and that's the beauty, is that we are not trapped. We do have free will to make those choices, whatever our destiny is, whatever God has given us in our life, we're not trapped in that. That's huge. And that Anoki, that transmutes into Ani, which becomes the oneness and actually leads us into the word, into the nothing, is key. So the ego then is both our enemy, but also our friend. It's how we choose to work with it. That's the free will choice that we have. And then, if we really kind of see the bigger picture in a way, there are certain places that we don't choose, but God has chosen as holy. We can talk about Am Israel, Holy Land, labeled as holy. Temple Mount, labeled as holy. The Ark, the Holy Temple, they're all labeled as holy. We can choose those places. And we have that I-ness, that soul within us. We can choose to connect to that holiness within us. We have that power. And one of the biggest struggles today, as we're being faced with the illusion, not illusion, but the terror of the COVID-19, is the whole design is to separate us from our soul, separate us from other people, to isolate us. And we're not meant to be alone. We are not meant to be alone. That's not who us as humanity is. But the dark side wants to keep us in alone. The dark side wants to keep us in separation. The dark side wants to separate us from each other and from God. So the bottom line is when we see with Rhea with the eyes of Messiah, we see we're a unified whole. We're not in separation. We're not alone. And the path to wholeness, to being rescued, so to speak, from the dark side, from Mount Ebal, is return to God. Return to the oneness. And the game plan is there. That's what's so beautiful. The game plan's there. We don't have to worry about it. And we have that choice. So as we end this Parsha, understand that we have the power of free will choice, the Anoki, the egoic, positive egoic power to choose Mount Gerizim or Mount Ebal. So I leave you with, what's your choice going to be? Are you ready to leave Mount Ebal that all of us have suffered through and all the darkness and choose the light? Or do we think we're stuck in the darkness and can't be rescued from the darkness? Rescued from our aloneness, rescued from our separation from God. So, my choice is Mount Gerizim. To know the oneness, to know the joy of the oneness, to know our connectivity, to know that we were never alone. That's only an illusion of the dark side. We are never a victim. We're meant to be free. We are always connected as the one. We're always connected to the one. It's just a total illusion to think that we're disconnected and alone and separate and can't be rescued. Forget it. That's just not what's going on. But if we buy that illusion, we buy into the dark side, we stay in a life of separation and pain and misery. Our choice. Choose joy, choose love, choose God, choose our oneness, choose the truth of who we are. This is the great message of Rhea. Shalom, shalom, shalom.